The dog's growl didn't sound like anger, it sounded like grief. Blood soaked into the concrete beneath the motionless body of the wounded Navy SEAL, turning the gray floor into a dark, spreading stain. Medics hovered nearby, desperate to help, but none dared step closer. The military working dog planted himself over his handler's chest like a living shield, teeth bared, muscles trembling, eyes wild with a mixture of terror and loyalty so fierce it felt almost human. Every time someone moved within reach, the dog lunged with a warning snap, refusing to let anyone touch the man he loved more than life itself. The situation was spiraling toward tragedy. Seconds mattered. The SEAL was fading. And the only thing standing between him and medical care was the one companion who had saved his life countless times before. If you believe in kindness, loyalty, and second chances, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that humanity still exists in the world. The helicopter blades had barely stopped spinning when chaos erupted across the base's emergency landing zone. The operation had gone wrong in ways no one had predicted. Intelligence had been incomplete, resistance heavier than expected, and the extraction rushed under fire. By the time the team returned, one man was down, and his K-9 partner was covered in dust, blood, and adrenaline. Chief Petty Officer Marcus Hale had been one of the unit's most respected operators, steady under pressure, calm in danger, the kind of leader younger SEALs instinctively trusted. But now he lay unconscious, chest rising in shallow, uneven breaths, his tactical vest shredded where shrapnel had torn through. His pulse was weak. Time was slipping away. Beside him stood Rex, a Belgian Malinois trained for combat, detection, and protection. But training had limits when instinct and love took over. Rex wasn't responding to commands. Not from the team. Not from the medics. Not even from Marcus's closest friend in the unit. The dog's world had collapsed into one singular mission: protect his handler at all costs. The medical team attempted sedation protocols, but every movement closer triggered another defensive reaction. Rex wasn't just guarding, he was panicking. His handler wasn't moving, wasn't responding, and to the dog, that meant danger everywhere. Minutes passed like hours. Blood loss increased. The medic in charge knew the harsh truth: if they couldn't reach Marcus soon, they would lose him. That was when a young nurse arrived. She wasn't supposed to be there. She had only been on base for 3 weeks, fresh out of training, assigned to assist with routine care and minor injuries while she learned the rhythms of military medicine. Her name was Emily Carter, and she carried the quiet nervousness of someone still trying to prove she belonged. She froze when she saw the scene: the injured SEAL, the armed operators standing helplessly around him, and the dog guarding him with desperate intensity. The tension in the air felt suffocating. Even seasoned personnel looked unsure. Emily's heart pounded. She had grown up around dogs, volunteered at shelters, and studied animal behavior as part of her medical cross-training, but this was different. This wasn't a frightened pet. This was a combat-trained military working dog in full protective mode. And yet, something about Rex's posture caught her attention. Beneath the aggression, she saw fear. Confusion. A dog who didn't understand why his partner wasn't waking up. Without fully realizing why, Emily took a slow step forward. The operators immediately warned her to stop, but she barely heard them. Her focus locked onto Rex's eyes, amber, intense, searching. A memory surfaced in her mind, sudden and clear. Years earlier, during nursing school, she had volunteered at a veterans rehabilitation center. One patient had been a retired K-9 handler who talked endlessly about the bond between operators and their dogs. He had explained how units sometimes develop unique verbal cues, phrases used only within their team to signal safety or trust to their K-9 partners during chaotic missions. At the time, it had just been an interesting detail. Now, it might be the only chance Marcus had. Emily lowered herself slowly to one knee, keeping her body language calm, non-threatening. Rex's growl deepened, but he didn't lunge. His ears flicked forward, uncertain. Then she spoke. Not loudly. Not forcefully. Just steady. A short phrase. A unit code. The effect was immediate. Rex's growl cut off mid-breath. His head tilted slightly. Confusion replaced aggression. The words meant something to him, something connected to trust, to safety, to the bond he shared with Marcus. Emily repeated the phrase, softer this time, extending her empty hands to show she carried no threat. The dog's trembling eased. His tail twitched once. Then, slowly, hesitantly, Rex stepped back just enough for the medics to move in. Relief exploded across the landing zone. The team rushed forward, stabilizing Marcus, applying pressure to wounds, starting 4 lines. Within moments, he was on a stretcher, racing toward surgery. As they loaded him into the transport, Rex stayed close but no longer blocked anyone. His eyes never left his handler. Emily remained kneeling on the concrete, heart pounding, barely processing what had just happened. Hours later, inside the hospital, the tension shifted into quiet uncertainty. Surgery lasted nearly 5 hours. Internal bleeding had been severe. Complications were constant. More than once, the surgical team thought they might lose him. But Marcus fought. And so did Rex. The dog refused food. Refused rest. He lay outside the intensive care unit doors, head on his paws, eyes fixed forward, waiting. Personnel rotated shifts to sit with him, offering water, gentle reassurance, but Rex's focus never wavered. Emily visited during her breaks, sitting a few feet away, speaking softly. Each time she used the same phrase, the same code, Rex's ears perked slightly, recognition sparking. On the 3rd day, Marcus woke up. The first thing he asked for wasn't pain medication. It wasn't information about his injuries. It was his dog. Hospital policy normally restricted animals in critical care areas, but exceptions were made. When Rex entered the room, guided carefully by a handler, the transformation was immediate. The dog approached slowly, sniffing the air, as if confirming reality. When Marcus's hand weakly lifted and touched Rex's head, the dog collapsed beside the bed, pressing against him, tail wagging with overwhelming relief. Witnesses later said there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Recovery was long. Months of rehabilitation followed. Physical therapy, surgeries, setbacks, frustration. Marcus struggled with the psychological weight of the mission, the guilt of teammates injured, the uncertainty of his future career, the fear of never returning to the field. Through it all, Rex stayed by his side. And Emily remained part of the story too. Marcus learned what she had done, how she had used a phrase known only within his unit. He was stunned. That code had been created years earlier during training, used only between handlers and their K9 partners to signal, friendly approach, safe to trust. Emily explained the coincidence, the retired handler she had once known, the stories he shared, the phrase that stayed in her memory. Marcus later said he believed fate had placed her there that day. But Emily didn't see it that way. She simply saw a moment where someone needed help, both the man and the dog. As Marcus healed, he began speaking publicly about the bond between military working dogs and their handlers, advocating for better post-service care and recognition. Rex became something of a quiet celebrity on base, known as the dog who refused to abandon his partner even when chaos surrounded them. But the deeper story wasn't about heroism alone. It was about trust. About the invisible threads that connect lives, a nurse's past volunteer work, a retired veteran's stories, a dog's loyalty, a soldier's courage, all converging in one fragile moment where everything could have gone wrong. And instead, it didn't. Before we reach the ending, I have a special request for you. Please comment the word loyalty if you believe bonds like this, between humans, animals, and strangers, still exist in the world. Your comment helps more people discover stories that inspire hope. A year later, Marcus walked unassisted across a stage during a military ceremony honoring service members and working dogs. Rex stood beside him, vest polished, posture proud. When Marcus knelt, slowly but determined, and wrapped his arms around Rex, the applause lasted nearly a full minute. Emily watched from the audience, tears in her eyes. She had almost not stepped forward that day. Fear had nearly stopped her. Doubt had nearly convinced her she wasn't experienced enough to help. But compassion overruled hesitation. And because of that, a life was saved. A partnership endured. And a reminder was born, that sometimes the smallest voice, spoken at the right moment, can break through fear and change everything. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like the video, share it with someone who loves stories of courage and loyalty, and subscribe for more real-life inspired moments that restore faith in humanity. Your support helps these stories reach the people who need them most. Because somewhere out there right now, another Rex is guarding someone he loves. And another Emily might be deciding whether to step forward.